What will disabled older people do to survive if Social Security or Medicare are taken away? U.S. Ending SS and Medicare would bankrupt the U.S. We would be putting millions of people straight into poverty. This would crash everything else. Without any new programs to provide income medical, everybody will suffer except the very rich. Pray to God my 401k plans are gonna see me through. They're not supposed to survive if they're poor. That's the point. Only Graham's woman shrugging light skin tone. I'm disabled and poor in my 30s and society does not want us alive at any age. But especially when we are old. Nope. Most of these people have no resources, wealth to fall back on. Their families or charity programs would need to step in. However, it is important to note that when the trust funds are depleted, there will still be tax money coming in to pay 75 or benefits. That alone won't be enough, but it's smaller amount for others to fill in. As someone on Social Security disability, I assume my family members that can work would try to stretch themselves thin with part-time work on top of their full-time work attempting to help me. Until the guilt led me to suicide. Die. Or live in severe poverty. Just look to Britain, what can boppen. They were telling cerebral palsy and MS patients they've gotten better and no longer qualified for disability under the austerity era changes. So people died from entirely predictable and preventable causes. Now remember, the US already has substantially lower amounts of services all around. Thoughts and prayers. The problem no one talks about is why Social Security and Medicare are going to be bankrupt. It isn't because the boomers didn't pay their share. It is because Reagan raided Social Security and Medicare. The GOP promised to pay that money back. They never did. Now they are calling it an entitlement program. This is the result of trickle-down economics. The GOP continues to give tax cuts to the rich while taxing the middle class and poor while raiding the safety net programs that are supposed to assist the middle class and the poor. It's a reverse Robin Hood effect. Tax the poor and enrich the rich. They won't. Why would a capitalist society want them to? They have worked, earned money, then spent it all on healthcare. They have nothing left to contribute to capitalism, so they won't. As someone who just had their disability cut off when the review they did somehow came to the mind-boggling conclusion that I'm no longer disabled and can work 40 hours a week, despite barely being able to walk a block because of pain and many other issues. The answer is nothing. We're fucked. I didn't get paid this month. For the first time in my life, I haven't paid rent. There's absolutely no assistance available for that. It's catastrophic. It's actually psychopathic to want to kick disabled and elderly citizens off of the assistance they need. Speaking for the older generation, we will then eat the young. Bootstraps. They'll fucking just bootstrap their way to the promised land. Social Security is also responsible for paying disabled vets. Last thing you would want is a lot of very angry poor vets. Lots of suicides. When my money runs out, that's my plan. Yeah, no. If a person has paid in for 50 years and it gets yanked, there just might be enough resources left to ensure that someone who helped cause the problem also suffers loss. No. We will return to Depression era for old people. No healthcare. Extreme poverty for many. This is why FDR signed Social Security into law. Many will die. One thing I've learned from studying history is that if you step on a minority or make an unpopular law, people may get upset. If you threaten the majority with poverty and the average person is looking at being pushed out onto the street and starving, then you get revolutions. Animals stop running and bite back when cornered. Speaking only for myself, of course I won't revolt, rely on families who can't support them, be homeless, be hungry just like it was before Social Security and since the Reaganomics destroyed SSN. So some of us would wither away, eventually dying in place. Penniless. Some of us would be okay. Not me, but there are those who would survive unscathed. Then there are some who see their lives over and only suffering remain. These are the group of capable retirees that gleefully kill those in charge, allowing the other two groups to continue on living. What people seem to forget is that the government doesn't fund Social Security. That is your money that was paid into the system by you and your employer over a lifetime. The problem is that successive Republican administrations starting in the 1970s began borrowing money out of the trust fund to pay for other things, and now they don't want to pay it back. That's our money. Just like an IRA that they want to steal from us. I'm guessing they'll be going to camps with the rest of us vermin. It's not just the recipients of Social Security and Medicaid that would suffer if those systems ended. Look at all the people whose businesses are directly supported by the money that Social Security provides. Look at all the hospitals and clinics that would suffer if Medicare were non-existent. Ending Social Security and Medicaid would make the United States a third world country. Good question. Let's meet up in 45 years and find out. Really sad of content. They will simply be turned into Soylent. They won't take away SS for current or even close recipients. That would be the end of the Republican Party. They will make it so that 40 and under will have a higher age requirement, lower benefits, etc. This is how they raised retirement age last time, pecking it to death by ducks. Full-scale warfare. Isn't the average U.S. retirement age now only 1 year away from the average U.S. death age? X200B. You don't need to worry if you are dead. I'll only say this once. I've personally paid into it since I was 15, as has my employer, one of which I've been with for almost 30 years. That is theft. If they try, we will riot. If you don't riot, you are making a massive mistake. Social services such as Medicaid, SNAP, and Section 8 would need to be significantly funded since more people would qualify. I would not consider what we get surviving. I mean, we're definitely not thriving. This is struggling to survive but dying slowly while being kicked and looked down on and being told that you don't count or you could do better if only you tried or just wanted to change bad enough. Most of us wouldn't survive. But that is probably part of the appeal. If they cut mine off, I'll spend what I have left on a lead sandwich for my last meal. Luckily, that likely won't happen. Lawmakers will put into place pre-2033 when it's projected to run out laws to shore up the trust. We need to make some massive changes to SS. But those receiving it or near retirement should get what they've been promised. I'd opt out completely if I could. Just give me everything I paid in plus interest. Sell their bodies to the Soylent Green factory. Maybe they'd stop voting for Republicans. Die on the street of starvation and exposure. There will be corpses in the streets. Everywhere. Still vote Republican, I'm sure. I think it will be time to contemplate shuffling off this mortal coil, on my own terms.